what things happened to make me this person? 3 near-death experiences, right? 12 major heart attacks, being in a war, getting shot with a machine gun in the heart, blown up by a rocket, 8 helicopter crashes, getting shot down 5 times, knowing who's going to get killed, who's going to get wounded, seeing the future, predicting the future, seeing the Kennedy assassination, 1,000 little things. But the bottom line is always this: love and forgiveness. So I never looked at myself as a victim of life. Why did God let this happen to me?
Reverend Bill McDonald is on a mission to teach the power of love and forgiveness. His life has been a spiritual journey spanning slightly over 7 decades. His whole life has been a mystical trip in search of gurus, the paranormal, and self-discovery. He has written about his many spiritual transforming experiences and near-death experiences, including supernatural events during his combat tour of duty in Vietnam. Now, Bill has such a bigger intro that I could read, that I could be here for the next 20 minutes reading his intro, but I intentionally kept it short because I'd rather have more of him and less than me. So we were talking, and yes, near-death experiences are really important. I want to talk about your near-death experiences, Bill, and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
But I also want to make sure that we're spending a good amount of time talking about your wisdom and your mission and what you really want people to hear from this that you feel will be most supportive.
I've actually given this some thought, because this year, of course, you don't have to be psychic to look at 2024 and see Israel, Gaza, Ukraine, Russia, Trump, Biden. I mean, there's just so many forces going. The energy is just clashing, that I'm trying to get people this year to focus on self-change by focusing on their own self-love, changing their frequency, their vibration. I really do believe that when you change yourself, you've added some change to the world. Now, depending on your frequency, vibration, in other words, the energy in you will determine how much influence and change you can make in the world. But I really believe there's some great souls out there, whether they're living in a cave in the Himalayas or they're living in an apartment in Manhattan. Doesn't make any difference. There are great souls out there, men and women, who are at such a high level and frequency that when they meditate and when they pray and when they send love, it changes world history. And, the great ones, Jesus, Buddha, I mean, when they came in, their energy changed for centuries, what we're going through now. So I really believe this year, I'm trying to teach people, don't focus on all that you see. Don't focus on cable television. Don't read the newspapers if they're already left in your town. Just focus on what you can change. And that really narrows down to this. You can change you. Ta-da!
Well, I love that, dada. And some people are saying, I'm trying. I don't know what you mean. Raise my vibration, change my energy. Some people have amazing energy, which is healing, that they can send love to people. We know that there are so many different ways to change ourselves, to become more spiritually awakened, connected more to love than fear. What are some of the ways you support people?
So, yeah, it's all about love. And love is the greatest frequency.
Yes. And I love that you mentioned that it starts with self-love and that it isn't egotistical, but it is truly the most spiritual practice and commitment you can make is to learn to love yourself. It's taken me a long time to understand that, but it is profound.
It's when I counsel anybody, which is every day, I'm talking to somebody. You're talking to me, I'm talking to you. I'm counseling people all the time, whether they know it or not. Self-love is indicative of spiritual, emotional, mental health. Yeah. If you don't love you and you don't forgive you, which is amazing to me. I met some very spiritual inclined people, very loving people, but they can't forgive themselves. I had an abortion. I can't forgive myself. I yelled at my kid. I was in the war. Whatever it is that they can't forgive themselves for.
Yeah.
And I'm going, let's think about this. God can forgive you. Yeah, God can forgive me. But you're better than God. You can't forgive you. Right? So,
Yeah, total reframe there.
yeah.
Yeah.
People have a
So,
hard time forgiving themselves.
oh, big time. Big time. So before I want to continue with this, but people who don't know who you are, and again, I gave just a snippet. What informs this very sagacious outlook? How did you arrive at where you are in terms of being someone that people turn to for emotional, psychological, spiritual guidance?
And I don't want to step on any toes because there's a lot of people advertising themselves out there as, I've never seen so many people advertise as life counselors. Everybody's a life counselor, intuitive
Life coach.
counselor.
Yeah.
Everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't advertise that. I don't push that. It's like, to me, you start life off and you should be meditating, you should be praying, you should be serving, you should be loving. These are the basic building blocks to reach that point. Now, I start off, I can't remember when I didn't meditate. So when I was infant in the crib, I'm kind of going out of it. But as a toddler, I was meditating, and then I had two brothers died who were infants, and we had ghosts in the house, and I had a alien UFO abduction encounter with my sisters. I was involved in having people tell me they were seeing me in different places, when I was sleeping, and I was counseling people, and I was meeting people my entire life. Of course, then I was sick and dying, had my first near-death experience at 8.5 years old, and I spent 1 year in the hospital.
Wow.
And just as a side note, because you say where the basis of this comes from, a lot of people would look 1 year in a hospital, a county hospital, with no visitors, one time a week, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that's it. No television, no phone, there's no computers back then, no playing cards, no coloring books, no toys, nada, nothing. You get up at 6 in the morning, they put you to sleep at 9 at night. And for an 8.5-year-old kid, that could have been a real bad thing. I had nothing to do all day long. To me, it was the greatest thing that ever happened. Of course, I had a near-death experience the first night there, which I foresaw future events in my life 50 years forward. Didn't have a past life review. I had a pre-review of what's going to happen. I saw Vietnam, saw who I was going to marry. I saw all these things all the way up to going to Babaji's cave in India. 50 years later to the day that I had my near-death experience at 8.5, at 58.5, I fell off a cliff in the Himalayan mountains after visiting Babaji's cave and died on this rock and was revived by a cobra snake crawling across my feet. There's another whole story there for you. Anyway, but it was
Needless to say.
like 50 years later. So you say, what things happened to make me this person? 3 near-death experiences, right? 12 major heart attacks, being in a war, getting shot with a machine gun in the heart, blown up by a rocket, 8 helicopter crashes, getting shot down 5 times, knowing who's going to get killed, who's going to get wounded, seeing the future, predicting the future, seeing the Kennedy assassination, 1,000 little things. But the bottom line is always this: love and forgiveness. So I never looked at myself as a victim of life. Why did God let this happen to me? Why did my family do this?
Yeah.
I never in my life ever said, why me, Lord? Because in my mind, God would be slapping me around and say, why not you, Bill? Come on, you can take it. And so I looked at everything in my life as a lesson. Anybody that's done me evil, harm, an enemy, whatever, they're a teacher. What are they trying to teach me? Even in Vietnam, when I'm getting shot at, and I got shot at a lot, getting shot at, and I got to fire back, never anger, no hate towards them. In fact, I sent him love. Because I figure that guy, he's doing what I'm doing. He's trying to keep his buddies and himself alive. He's following his duty. So he's tried to kill me. I can forgive that. I mean, so,
Yeah. Yeah.
and when I went back to Vietnam in 2002 and met Viet Cong and people I actually fought against, units I actually fought against, and I went to this farmer's house where my helicopter was actually shot down and he lived there. Uh, and he showed me his grandkids, and his wife cooked a meal for us, and it was beautiful. It was soldier on soldier, and no hate, no anger. We understood each other. So anyway, so I take this repertoire of, I'll be 78 years old in 6 weeks. So 78 years of my life has been meditation, prayer, service, love, forgiveness, honoring and helping others. Always. If you're selfish to the point where it's about you and you're competitive and you want to get ahead on the job and beat this guy out for promotion, or the usual competitive things people do, that wasn't my world. It was more like it's always team, it's always we, it's always us. But someplace along the line, you got to take the individual responsibility to be the best you that you can be. So that's been my goal. I don't go out trying to change the world, but I've changed me.
Right.
And I hope and I believe that that's probably changed something out there. And those people that hang around me have phenomenal things, life-changing things happen for them, around them, and to them just by virtue of hanging. I don't know if I'm a lucky shamrock, right? I'm the little leprechaun out there but people get good. I've known 12 people win a lotto, the big one.
Well, let me slow you down, if I may, because this is extraordinary. These experiences are extraordinary. I've heard you talk about going to Vietnam, and you knew which event was going to kill people, which event was safe for you, what was going to happen next, and you knew that you couldn't tell people because they would think you were crazy, and you were always governed since childhood by this high moral, spiritual code. But you're also human. Do you ever lose your temper, feel impatient, feel frustrated? Are you ever in a bad mood?
Okay. Get angry? Never in my life.
Never in your
Okay,
life, you've never been angry.
Never get angry. Even when I had my stepdad put a 350 Magnum to my forehead and cock it, threatened to blow me away. I was 10 years old. I talked so calmly and smoothly to him. That was an interesting lesson because I looked at it and said, well, if I could talk this guy out of blowing my head away, what a talent that would be. That's how my thought was. Wow.
That's amazing. But so how do you connect with people like the rest of us who are so very flawed if you've never experienced that?
I get frustrated sometimes when people don't understand the gift I'm trying to give them or the help I'm trying to give them. I admit to that. That's a flaw. The flaw is.
Well, you're human. You're human, Reverend Bill.
They shut down, right? So that's frustrating for me, and I can be hurt.
Okay.
I can be hurt because I thought you understood, or I thought you believed me, I thought you loved me, all those kind of things.
Sure.
Something shows differently. Yeah, I'm a human on that level, but anger, no. And I always put myself in that other person's shoes, and I always kind of imagine people what would they be like if they were a toddler or a child, right? Yeah. So it changes things, but to me, my enemy is my greatest teacher. Mm-hmm. So I look at them and I say, why is this person stirring this up in me? What is it in me that's affected by that energy? So I always go, no matter what happens, it always turns back to my fix. Like all this stuff's going, well, what part is that is me? And so even if it's only 1% or 0.5% or 100% or 50%, so I look at everything from the point of view is how can I change me to affect that? And I learned a lot of that when I was a teenager living in Hawaii under the tutelage of a kahuna, David K. Bray, Big Daddy. And he taught me this. He taught me stuff at the time I thought, I could be out surfing. What am I listening to this old guy who's 60-some years old? I was 18, right? And he's teaching me, I'm going to teach you how to heal. And I go, oh, great. Okay, I'm ready to take mental notes. And he goes, first thing you got to do is you got to love you. And I'm going, okay, this ain't going anywhere. And the next thing you got to forgive you. And I'm going, oh, okay. Fine. Now, this is way before all these books came out in the last 20 years about Hawaiian, forgiving and all that stuff. This is the old kahuna stuff. And he practiced it. And to him was, you want to heal somebody, you heal you. And it works on the other. Because you have to see the extension of yourself in others. It's all family. And so things that change me, that make me different. I have felt great physical pain. I think I talked a little bit about that. I mean, I've had my nose cut off 3 times. Top of my head's been cut off twice. Cancer. I've had 15, 20 surgeries on the face, a couple dozen on the head, all around the
12 heart attacks.
Yeah, 12 heart attacks, quadruple bypass surgery for the heart, 8 stents. I had a third near-death experience when I had open heart surgery, and that was an interesting one because it wasn't your normal, if there's such a thing, normal near-death experience where you're this floating around like a ghost or something. I actually went from a operating table laying naked on a cold metal table with a thin sheet, having my heart ripped open and all this stuff in there, to instantaneously being in another body, my body, but a different body, in India, as predicted. The year before it was predicted in India when I was there. No, you got to go to this temple and this stuff will happen. So I went to that temple and I'm going, wow, I could feel the heat, people bumping into me. It was another body experience, a bilocation. But the other body, the old body, was still sitting on the operating table till it was over. When they did that, then both bodies joined together. Yeah, that's another whole story. But it's a life that has had purpose. So I look at everything, whether the cutting the nose off, whether I got shot by a machine gun. It doesn't make what got blown up by a rocket. It doesn't matter whatever happened. I go, oh, I needed that. I needed that because it's all given me credentials, like when I talk about healing with people. Instead of saying, well, magically through yoga and stuff, which I used to do, you just, boom, there's no pain, drill my teeth, drill down through the nerve with no shots. The doctor would go, I got to just do it. Yeah, I just use yoga, right? Breathing. But now, when I come back from the third near-death experience, I was told that I would feel every ache and pain more so than I ever felt in my entire life. And my job was to find a way to take and make a method and a technique that I could teach and share for others. And so that's what I've been doing for the last few years. I'm going around the world. I was just in India last January, and I was in Salt Lake City, I was in New York, you name it. And I'm going to London coming up, and Scotland, not Ireland, I'm sorry. I'm going to Scotland, and then I'm going to Berlin to give a big workshop, and then I'll be in the Bavarian Alps giving a workshop, and then in Czechoslovakian Republic, and then I'll be in Zurich, and then Tokyo, Hawaii, you name it, right? So I'm going around the world on my own dime. I just go do these things, and rent a building or something, I do it. Hopefully people help me out. If they don't, they don't. But I'm driven to take what I've learned and share that. And what I'm sharing is not so much, here, do this technique, because you can't do these things just with the technique. It's like start that car where the car don't have a battery in it, it ain't going to go anywhere. I don't care if it's brand new. And it is with the energy. So this is all thing about energy healing, about energy lifting, changing your frequency. Now, some people have a natural way of doing these things. I've watched people with music, some on certain frequencies, they just get. You can't listen to Amazing Grace without being affected, right?
Right.
There's something about the frequency of that song, even if you don't understand the words. It's just so sound and frequency, words have frequency, light has frequency.
Light has frequency. Yes.
So all these things together, and I kind of put them all in the same package. To me, people say, well, who's God? What's God? And I go, God's love. Love is the greatest energy of all, and love is light, love is sound. You know, in the beginning there was the word, right? Om or whatever, right? That was the beginning, but it's all vibrational. Even when you break everything down to its smallest particle, you know, string theory, whatever you want to go, it's always, well, there's no substance. It's just energy. String thing is just energy, you know. So everything's about energy, including us. And so when I go out and I'm teaching self-love for healing purposes, there's so much power in that being unlocked. I mean, for example, I fixed broken teeth. I fixed broken kneecaps. I've taken people out of a trance. You know, they're unconscious for days. I can pull them up out of that. So it doesn't matter, because in the realm of energy, it's all the same.
And so what I am really tracking with what you're saying, belief is also energy. So if you have someone and they are in some sort of physical peril and they're seeking help, or you've offered help, or however that happens, no matter how amazing your energy can be, if they don't believe, nothing's going to happen.
Well, sounds like you've been to my workshop. That's why first off, the titles of my workshop, I tell people, because, oh, come here, Bill's healed me. I go, no. I said, what's the title of the workshop? Self-healing. Because Reverend Bill could do anything he wants all day long, and he's got the energy to heal himself, and he could charge your battery, he could get, ultimately, you got to believe in it. That's why if some medicine man, some shaman gives you a sugar pill and tells you, take this 3 times a day for the next week and whatever you got's gone, it will be if you believe in the shaman.
That's
or you
right.
believe in the doctor, or if you believe in the pharmacist that says, take this sugar pill. So it's not what you take, it's your belief in it. And I learned that lesson pretty straightforward. I was in India in 2009, and I was at this ashram, and it was like midnight, and I was painting art on a temple wall. You know, what you do barefoot at night, right? Anyway, with a couple of people, and I fell off this makeshift thing I was standing on because they didn't have a ladder, a chair on top of a chair. Anyway, I fell and I went head first down this marble steps, and my leg got tangled up in a wire, and all of a sudden my foot was going 3 directions.
Good Lord.
And it made a sound like if you stepped on a bag of potato chips, you know that sound. And everybody stopped. There was like 6 people, and they all look over there, and there's blood coming out. It's turned purple. It's swollen up huge. You know, you can see the little toes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad. It's bad, right? So I kind of crawl over to the edge of the temple, and somebody goes against the guru's wife. She comes out there, and she goes, oh, and she starts crying and everything. You know, the guru comes out basically, and he goes, Bill, there's nothing wrong with your foot. And everybody's looking at him going, well, take him to the doctor. He goes, there's nothing wrong with your foot. You'll be okay in the morning. So I told his wife, I said, because she's going, no, don't take it. I said, if the guru tells me that there's nothing wrong with the foot, I believe him. And she goes, what? She says, because when I first met him, he told me a guru can never lie. So I believe that is the truth. So when he tells me there's nothing wrong with my foot, so I stand up, I put my sandal on, and the swelling goes down, the bleeding stops, the blue goes away. I walk. Next morning I catch him at the ashram walking, you know. I go, guru. And I go, thank you for healing my foot. And he goes, no, I did not heal your foot. Your belief in my words healed your foot.
So the implications of this are incredibly profound. I could go towards, healing the climate, eradicating cancer, healing our relationships. I mean, it does not have an application. There's no application that isn't poignant. But let's slow it down. So I'm going to say what I hear you're saying, and I know it's not about technique. What I'm hearing you say, Reverend Bill, is we need to understand that everything is energy. Starting with, as an example, sound, light, right? The energy of love, okay? We also need to understand that everything we're experiencing in this illusion of this lifetime, we came here to experience, and everything can be a lesson. And it is a lesson, in fact, and we need to recognize it's an opportunity for learning and experiencing and evolving. So now, if someone, like I have an issue with my leg, and I've mentioned it many times on the show. If I have this issue with my leg that I've had for almost 30 years, and I connect and raise my vibration by connecting with divine love, and I make a spiritual practice of it, belief chanting, meditation, automatic writing, just really connecting with love and recognizing this malady that I have is a teacher, and it also is something I can move through. And I truly foster the belief I can cure myself. And I lay hands on, I do energetic work, I imagine healing, I imagine flow, I imagine light is coming. What am I missing that I have not been able to heal it?
Surrender part. In other words, you go in there believing that divine source, you got to tell the divine source what you need and fix it. I don't go into it. It's like you cut off my nose, you got broken body part, whatever it is. I never ask the divine to heal me, ever. I figure whatever's happened to me is supposed to happen to me. My job is to learn the lesson. I love me, and I love me to such a degree that I accept whatever. I mean, great. It's like when I had all this cancer on my face and my head. I love the cancer because cancer's my enemy. Great, I love my cancer. My body heals because it's in love. And but I found that people are overlooking two things when it comes to healing. Okay. One is what karmic lessons they're learning. Mm-hmm. And part of that is surrendering to, you know what, do I need this, whatever it is? Great, thank you for giving me this. Let me learn whatever lessons I can from this. And you don't get mad at God for, oh, I was born with this thing, or this happened, or
it's not fair, and I'm the victim, and
all that. But so you just look at it and go, because here's the deal: it's just a body. Okay, it's just a body. The real energy is all spirit. It's just a body, and eventually, no matter how well you've taken care of that body, I mean, I'm going to be 78. I don't know how old I look, but I'm looking. I'm going. Yeah, that's my friends are looking old. Maybe I am, but there's not a wrinkle on my face. Okay, so I accept everything that's happened to me.
You don't just accept it, you say thank you. You have gratitude.
Thank you. Yeah. Like the cancer. I thought, when I had the cancer and I went in for one surgery, and before I went, the doctor goes, the cancers, you got two big tumors under your orbital socket here, and look like maybe they're little, I don't know what the medical term is. Little feet come out, or little, roots or whatever. They may be in your eyeball, behind the eye. And if that's the case, when we operate to take these out, you may lose one or both eyes. I said, oh, okay. I guess I need to bring my wife in case I need a ride home. That was it. That was my total reaction.
It's a real lack of attachment and recognizing this is all very temporary. If that is what is meant to be, then that is the lesson I'm here to learn. It's incredibly involved. We had a guest on, and what he said about illness, because he's also born psychic, near-death experience, and he met a shaman in his near-death experience, and thereafter, and they said, and he is a proponent, his message is, disease is a teacher. So when someone has some sort of illness, they need to look at the moment that happened. What was going on in your life that was out of balance? Was it a relationship? Was it a relationship with yourself? You need to course correct, because it's a wake-up call to say what is out of balance. And then a lot of what you were saying is what he is saying, but it's because so when I told him about my leg, he said, when did you get it? And I said, when I was 27. He said, and what was happening in your life? That is the thing that it came here to teach you. So what do you think of that perspective?
All these things have a valid place. Karma which is very difficult for people to understand. You bring a lot of these things in. It's like, I hate to tell people, well, you're saying we're predestined? I said, you created your future already.
Yeah.
So yeah, is that predestined? Is that fate? Call it anything you want. You created it. You
You
envisioned
wrote
it.
the blueprint for
You
your
wrote
life.
the blueprint. So there it is. So, but for example, I've had 12 major heart attacks. I got 8 stents. I got quadruple bypass surgery. I've had congestive heart failure for over 20 years. So I had a heart attack 5 weeks ago. Okay?
Wow.
No big deal. It's just a heart attack. Come on. It's just a body. So I called the VA. I think I come in for a checkup. So I come in a few days later. So I go in there and I see my doctor and he goes, well, what do you want? I said, well, I had a heart attack the other day. And he goes, well, let me pull up your file. And he goes, let's see. Oh, and he goes to this whole list of stuff, the stents, and he goes, and you got congestive heart failure, 20 years. He says, the first 5 years is 50% fatality. The next 5 years is only like 20% of the people left. He says, we got no numbers for 20 years. He says, you should be coming here and thank me for being your medical doctor. I go, what? He goes, ain't nothing I could do for you, right? So then, let me show you this. See this heart?
Yes.
All right. So I give a workshop down in Southern California, and it's in a acupuncturist's office. The lobby was filled up. It was really nice. I finish. She heard me just casually telling that story between breaks. She says, no, I want to help you. I want to work on you. I want to gift you acupuncture treatment. And I said, well, she goes, what do you got wrong? I said, well, okay, I had a heart attack, a week or two ago. She goes, okay. So she goes in there and she takes the wrist and she finds a spot like right here and she pokes a needle in there. And she says, now, theoretically, this middle finger will feel some energy and then it'll come all the way across here and it'll hit your chest. Well, as soon as she did that, this finger went, and then it was like, boom. And she's looking at me and I'm looking, I said, you feel that? She goes, yeah. I said, you see that? She goes, yeah. And then the next day, on the opposite side of my arm,
Amazing.
I got a blood heart.
You got a blood heart.
Anyway, so it's what I'm trying to say about issues. I have gone through things, and then people come to me, they come to me because they come, I'm going to cure them, and they got 3-month death sentence, they'll be dead of cancer. And I'm telling people, I said, when you die, it's not up to me, number one. It's like I got a carton of milk. There's a date. It's going to happen. You ain't going to escape. I said, and number two, that disease that you have, or that injury you have, or that defect that you have, is burning karma. So if you just go around without any thought, no prayer, no divine intervention, no divine entombment, and you just go out there and start curing everybody. I'm not talking about a medical doctor. That's their job. That's their destiny. I'm talking about everybody else out there, all miracle workers, right?
That's right.
And they want to cure everybody. And I'm telling you, you know what? Not even the gurus cure everybody, because there's a higher value that they have to deal with. You take away this disease, this cancer that's burning karma, now you retarded their spiritual growth. Where else are they going to burn that karma? It's easier to burn it on the body
Physically.
than on a relationship. Would you rather have a divorce or deal with the cancer, right? So you got to have to deal with this thing someplace. So there's people that have come to me in the past, and I just, if I don't have a voice say, go do it, I wish them well. Oh, pray for me as I pray. When I pray for people, it's not like, God, this grandmother's got cancer and she needs this, no. God knows that. First off, the fact that you pray to God means you think God is separate from you, number one. It's outside of you, you're praying to God. Secondly, you're assuming that the all-knowing, all-living God doesn't know this. But if you come to him and petition, well, this person's, no. Just praying and asking is a lack of faith. If you're going to do anything, thank God for whatever it is happening to this person, because whatever it is, it's going to benefit them spiritually, emotionally, in some way. It's going to burn karma. Give them courage. Give them comfort. I don't mind praying to take
Yeah.
away the pain. All these things are
Yeah.
good. Pray for them to have the power of wisdom so they understand why they're going through this. So, no, healing people just because is not good enough. I don't want to see anybody suffer, an animal most especially, or anything
Yeah.
else, or a person.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that. You do what you can. And if it's your own
Hmm.
child, then that's your karma you're dealing with too. So
Yeah.
God bless you. Do
Yeah.
whatever you got to do.
Okay. So distilling again. It's the gratitude for whatever it is you are contending with because it could be karmic.
Yes.
It might not be, but there is a lesson in there. It is not without purpose. And so
Yes.
praying for comfort, for courage. I heard one person call it a most benevolent outcome. And a benevolent outcome could be moving through pain. I mean, my show's called How I Made It Through. Moving through pain so that the lesson is learned, the karma is closed. What is your definition of karma? How do you explain that to people?
Karma is an accumulation of all that your ego has entertained, what you've read, what you've watched, what you've eaten, what actions you've taken, what lust and desires you've had, you name it. It's an accumulate the good and the bad. If you care to label them, it's all karma, because karma could be you trying to build an orphanage for all these lifetimes. You want to help children, and and then you got to come back this lifetime because you haven't fulfilled the desire to build this orphanage, right? So there's karmic levels, and then you have people like Saint Francis of Assisi or Saint Ignatius of Loyola or Jesus or somebody out there. There's people out there that they're taking on karma of others. And you
Yeah.
see this with great gurus and with great spiritual beings. And you go, how come St. Francis having his eyes taken out? How come this guy's being burned to the stake? How come Jesus being nailed to the cross? Was that karma? Sometimes the great ones choose to be used.
Yeah.
So you don't know in your life when you're dealing with somebody if what's happening to them, especially a child coming to this world, and they come in and they have mental, emotional problems,
Yes.
or they have physical disabilities, and you go, oh, and I want to slap people around, but I don't. But when they go, oh, that child must have had bad karma. No. A lot of times these children will volunteer to speed up their spiritual evolution by taking on mass doses of stuff. Give it to me all at once. They want to get rid of it. They want to move forward quickly. Or they love their parents so much. They want to help their parents get through their karma. And so they present the parents an opportunity to learn great compassion
Yeah.
and exercise this whole lesson of great love.
Yeah.
And because if you talk to somebody that's had a child for 20, 30 years, 40 years, and the child dies, but the whole time they've been, having all kinds of issues and stuff, when it's over, there's a part of them that has no regret. It's like, no, there was a deeper love there. And the ones that have been successful have found that. Even if they were suffering, they had no time, they were working their butts off, they're changing diapers on adults. I mean, they're doing all this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But they did it. It was their duty. And they did it. And once they get past it's their duty, they go to the next level.
Yeah.
Doing it because I love them. It's like I have a friend, his wife has Alzheimer's. People say, well, why don't you put her someplace? Well, he just lovingly takes care of this woman. They said, well, she doesn't even know who you are anymore. And he goes, but I know who she is.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
all.
Well, every lesson in there is a lesson of love. They're all love lessons. And what I've heard from people, I'd be curious to hear from you because it connects with what you just said, is that often people who come into these lifetimes, children with cancer or physical or mental disability, are older souls.
Oh, yeah.
And they're doing it, yes, for their parents, yes, for the collective, yes, for medical advancements, but it's older souls.
That's a tough, tough life that one takes on.
Yeah.
I think most of those, because you can't really see through the layers of karma, but most of those children coming in, they accepted that challenge. It's like, no, give it to me. No, I volunteer.
Well, I would say All of them. I mean, that is my understanding. When we are on the other side and we are connected with our guides, it is really saying, and we are in collaboration, we have free will to say, what am I choosing to take on? What am I choosing to take on? So let me ask you this. What awareness and to what extent does that awareness shape how you show up in this lifetime? Do you have of your own past lives to be so evolved?
Yeah, well, I've had readings in India from various gurus and naughty palm leaf readers and card readers and Vedic astrologers and I've had Western people. I've had all of it. What's really weird is that in all the readings, and I'm talking dozens that I've had independently without me telling them about anything, they have no knowledge of the readings. They're all the same, which kind of amazed me. I had a naughty palm leaf reading done, which is another whole topic for another day. But these things were written down. They were channeled by ancient rishis in India, like 2,000 to 5,000 years ago. And they wrote this information down for people coming in the future. And they would come looking for that, and they find these things and they give it to you. And so I had a couple of those done. And it's always amazing to me that I said, geez, how'd they know I was going to come in at this time and place, to get this? Because when you go in, when you get the read, you realize from the questions and the predictions and stuff, this is exactly the day, the time I was supposed to be here, right? For example, first one I had done in India, in Pune, I was sent by a guru, and the guy goes, in a reading, he goes, you recently worked on a movie, but not as an actor. Well, 2 or 3 weeks before, I gave a suggestion for a script to help a movie, because I saw a movie and I just didn't like the ending on it, and I go, the guy said, oh, we got no more budget left. I said, well, all you got to do is one scene for 2 minutes, do the blah, blah, blah. So that was my contribution. The film became really great. And then Bruce Springsteen and Bob Dylan saw the thing afterwards, heard about it. They saw the new ending, and yeah, go ahead, use anything from our catalog for your music if you want. I mean, it was just, it set the tone for the thing. So nobody at the ashram knew about that. And these guys doing a reading didn't know about it. But had I been in there the year before or the year after, 6 months before, it wouldn't have had any meaning. So when they go, this is the time, this is the place, this is what happens. So I asked somebody, I said, well, how would they know when I'm going to come in? And so here's what I was told, because it's interesting, this is another whole lecture. All time is now, right?
Yeah.
So 5,000 years ago is now.
Yeah.
This guy in this trance, channeling, he sees me getting ready to go in to get this thing done. So he channels it at the same time I'm doing it, and he's channeled it, and even though it's 5,000 years in our life,
Yeah.
but actually it's exactly when I walked in. He's done this thing to gift me. So it's, and when you hear that, you go, what? What?
Well, the sense I make of it, and tell me if this jives with you, and then we're going to have to start wrapping up shortly, but is the Akashic Records. The Akashic Records, everything, and I'm going to use these terms for our earthly incarnations here, but that ever was, that ever is, that ever will be. It's all already laid out.
Mm-hmm. So you got to ask yourself, is it fate or is it free will?
That's
And
exactly where I'm going.
all right, so here's what I tell people. Ready for this? Just a little different thought on this. If all time is now, so what I do now affects what I did in the past, and it also affects at the same time what I do in the future. So you can change all three, but it's already written, because wherever you focus at, this the now, it's there. But it's like nobody's dictating the free will you use and how you use it. You have, but
Yeah.
you've written it all. For right now, Christine could just wake up tomorrow and say, I'm tired of this garbage. God and I are one. Boom, and you believe it. I mean, you know it. It's a knowing. It's like, boom, you're gone. See, we hang on to these little I-ness things. I-N-E-S-S, I-ness, right? The ego. You have a story, personal story. I got a personal story. We got histories. And we believe those. And if we believe those, that means we believe in heaven. We believe in birth. We believe in life. We believe in pain. We believe in all that stuff. We believe in death. We believe in the afterlife, whatever it may be. And we believe in reincarnation. So that's all belief. I was asked on an Eastern European radio show, 2019, I think it was. He said, obviously you believe in reincarnation, because that gets back to the original question, reincarnation. Mm-hmm. And I said, I don't even believe in incarnation. It's all an illusion. But if you are wearing a body, you got a bodysuit, flesh, bones, you're going to feel pain. I don't believe pain. Well, you got a body, you're going to feel it, right? And you got a body, it's going to die, and you're going to be born, right? Because you have an ego, and any level that your ego is at frequency-wise, you'll have a body that will fit that. In other words, if you go on the other side and you're some kind of angelic being, you have an angelic body, you have a body of light, you have a rainbow body, you'll be an astral body, a casual body. You know, you may just be orbiting someplace in the cosmos, but you'll have a body because you have an ego. So that's the separation. We separate ourselves because we believe in us, the power of us. And once you realize there's nothing separate from us, nothing at all, it's all one, then you go from the I-ness to the oneness.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is so much easier to say than to actually do. Because
I appreciate
I'm here, I got
that.
a body. I'm sorry, you got a body. You know, we're here.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. It feels like a really good place to start segueing. And that's something I'm going to have to listen to over and over and over again to really hear what you are saying. The things that I'm taking away from this interview are how fundamental it is to practice love. Great place to start is with ourselves. God is us, we are God. Recognizing that. And also, and I would like to have you back, because this idea around integrity and service and recognizing, you know, when no one is looking, who are we truly being, and is it connected to the vibration of love? Or are we having these little doubts and strategies to get ahead, losing our spiritual way? I have one more question. I knew we were going to go up, but I have one more question.
I could don't. I'm an Irishman. Don't ask me something, because I could go on well past your time limits here. But basically, it's this. Everybody has a purpose. People, oh, what's our purpose?
Yeah.
You know, why am I here? I hear that same question. I hear that from 100-year-old people. You know,
Yeah.
Young people. Why are we here? Ultimately, we're only here to love and serve, and serving is loving. So basically, you're here just to learn about love. And when you realize that the essence of love is God. So when you say everybody's made in God's image, well, if God is love, that vibration of love, then the whole everything is vibrating with love. So, yeah, we're all made in the image of God. We just have these sectarian thoughts that I'm Protestant, I'm Jewish, I'm this, I'm that, this is my guy, that's not your guy. And we got these divisions. And God is separated from us. No. One day we wake up and realize there is no separation.
And
There's
do you
only
think
love.
that day is coming? Because there's been so much that I think we can look at politically, socially, in terms of the climate, in terms of race relations. So much is sort of exploding. And my viewpoint is that it is an opportunity
All right, you could
to
have
look
said
at the
that.
darkness to see the
Yeah, yeah.
light.
But you could have made that statement any century,
It's true.
any decade. It's like, that's the way of the world. You ask me, do I believe it's good? I'm telling you that in a future now, which is happening right now,
Yeah.
you and I are already one with God.
Yeah.
We're just playing this illusion out. It's, you know, as these new agers, oh, it's all metric, you know. Well, I don't think it's a computer, but there's definitely some delusional stuff going here. It's illusions. It's not what it all seems to be.
It's not what it all seems to
The
be.
only thing that's real is love.
Well, I think that's
In the
real
end,
love.
that's it.
Okay, that feels like a beautiful place for us to end today's interview. Such a pleasure, Reverend Bill McDonald. Thank you for sharing all that you have. I know it'll make a difference.
Thank you.
How I Made It Through is produced and distributed by EIQ Media, LLC. Elevate your emotional IQ with podcasts and content focused on overcoming adversity, leadership, mental health, entrepreneurship, spiritually transformative experiences, and more.